But Tanai, first question, I mean, it is a public holiday in your country, yet you are at work. Why?
Yeah, I just came for this CNBC Africa interview, but really, it's a public holiday. Nobody's working today, so it's really quiet.
Oh my goodness, we feel
But
so bad.
just looking at,
We
yeah,
feel so bad. We really thank you
no,
for
it's
your
fine.
time. But on more important matters, though, it is a public holiday because your country's government is essentially taking a stand against sanctions they believe are crippling their efforts to recover and grow their economy. Yet the US in itself is saying that these sanctions are on targeted individuals and that business is still ongoing with many other companies in Zimbabwe that do trade with the US. I mean, where do you stand and how do you see this conversation regarding the impact that these sanctions are actually having on Zimbabwe?
Okay, so it's worth probably just looking back to say, what really kickstarted, especially these data, sanctions. I mean, they were put in place in 2001, soon after the land reform program. So in certain parts of the general populace within Zimbabwe, they are actually viewed as a way of trying to reverse, some empowerment, initiatives such as the land reform program. And that is why some describe them as actually illegal. But that being said, of course, the sanctions talk to democracy issues, things such as corruption, transparency in terms of governance. But however, there are some effects, especially on the economy, that really might creep, the recovery trajectory for Zimbabwe. For example, we are talking about, foreign currency generation, foreign currency inflows within Zimbabwe. And one of the key drivers of that could be things such as donor or aid finance from international community, including the USA. Things such as credit lines. We also talk of, things such as FDI investments. So really, for as long as there is data, it's very difficult for United States companies to come in and set shop in Zimbabwe, and also for Zimbabwe to really structure credit lines internationally and the like. So this is where the debate comes in to say yes, there are democratic, sort of sanctions, but the effects really are being felt on the economy.
Okay, but in terms of trying to solve the situation, how does the national public holiday get the US to rethink some of these sanctions? I mean, I understand that it's a full day of activity that is planned today in Zimbabwe, including watching a soccer match after protesting, and even going to or the club or having a dance in the evening. How does that get the US to change its mind?
Okay, that's an interesting question, because when the new administration led by President Emerson came into power, their sort of narrative was, let's try to re-engage some of these international partners. And they went out on roadshows, they tried to engage the USA, even EU and the like. However, fast forward, you find that there were some mistakes that actually did, especially around demonstrations, and also a crackdown by security forces and things like that. So really, that sort of put a dent on the political face of Zimbabwe, which is that the negotiation table became very difficult. Because on one side, we are seeing the USA saying that we want to see more reforms. Yes, we've seen a bit of reforms around fiscal discipline, but also the issues around human rights, violations and the like. So really, for the USA to then change their sentiments simply because of a public holiday is actually not possible.
Right.
But however, it's a way of just trying to garner international support, especially within the SADC region. I guess, of course, even in the SADC region, there's a sentiment that sanctions should be.
Right. But I will leave it there for now. Thanks so much for your time.